Hi everyone, and welcome to ZENTS Wellness Room. I'm Alison, and ZENTS Wellness Room is a place where we offer practices and techniques to help calm the mind, release stress and tension in the body, mind, and spirit, and really a place that we come and cultivate more resilience for these times we're living in. So welcome, this is a basic yoga level 1 class, Yoga 101, which everyone is welcome to. Even if you've been practicing yoga, coming back to the basics is always just a great idea because sometimes we forget the basics. So yeah, today we're going to work on the basics of the breath, alignment techniques, very general alignment techniques, general form. Maybe some of you know this. Yoga actually means union. So we're in the Hatha Yoga, we're bringing together two actions, right? And today we're really going to kind of make the focus about effort and surrender. So there's always this balance that we're playing, and it's a dynamic balance that we always want to play in between that effort and the surrender. So we're going to start with the very basics of the breath. So I want to invite you to lie on your backs and gather any props that you may need. So in the general form class of yoga, it's nice to have a blanket, a prop to sit on, a block, grab mine here, and a strap. But really anything will do. So you can use a thick book or a can if you don't have a block. If you don't have a strap, sometimes a scarf works. And then of course, most of us have a cushion around. You can sit on a blanket or a cushion. Okay, so we're gonna actually lie on our backs before we sit on our cushion. So I wanna invite you to lie down on your backs with your knees bent and your feet about hip distance apart. And you'll rest your hands on your lower abdominal area, just maybe an inch or two below the navel, fingertips rest. And you're just going to take this first moment to just simply rest back. So I want you to start to relax the body from the top of the head, down the face, back of the head, and just softening the shoulders. And allow yourself to take a few regular breaths, how you normally breathe. Let go of any tension in your hips, your lower back, and just notice how your back is touching the floor. Okay? So we're going to begin with a pranayama technique that we'll be using through the practice today. It's called Ujjayi Pranayama. And Ujjayi is what it literally translates to is victorious uprising breath. It's really breathing with sound, okay? So we're gonna breathe in and out through the nose and keep the mouth closed. And the tip of the tongue is gonna rest very softly on the roof of the mouth, okay? So go ahead and do that, close your eyes. And then we'll just start to deepen our breath. So start to take a little bit of a deeper inhale through the nose. I'm gonna pause at the top. And then a nice slow exhale through the nose. And a pause at the bottom. And you'll just start to cultivate deeper breaths as you go. So inhaling, maybe to the count of 2, 3, 4, and pause at the very top. And then exhale to the count of 4, 2, 3, 4, and pause. And you can follow that rhythm for yourself. Inhaling, 2, 3, 4, pause. And exhaling, 2, 3, 4, and pause. And keep going at that pace if that works for you. And then try to even out your in-breaths and your out-breaths so they're equal in length. Yeah. And then imagine that as you inhale, the breath is moving evenly into the side ribs, up and down. into the front and back evenly. And then same thing as you're letting the breath out, it's even. So almost like to visualize a balloon filling up with air, right? So as you inhale, the balloon fills evenly, front, back, sides. And as you exhale, the breath moves evenly. And you're also going to just observe, where is it more challenging to breathe? Where do you notice your breath moving more easily? Maybe it's your belly, maybe it's your chest. And just start to follow your breath. And then you want to let the ears soften and open up to the sound of your breath. You're going to listen to the sound. You're going to make a little bit of a sound actually by gently contracting the back of the throat. It's the glottis area, just enough so that you create a whispering aspirant sound. Some people like to call it the Darth Vader breath, right? I also like to think of the ocean in the background, just that whispering sound, both on the inhale and the exhale. And go ahead and take another 3 full breaths on your own. And as you inhale, noticing the rise of the in-breath. 2, 3, 4, pause. Same thing on the exhale. 2, 3, and 4, and pause. And now what we're going to do is work with what we call the bandhas. The bandha translates to root lock, but it's really creating a container. So we're going to think about working these bandhas to create a container for the breath to flow through the body. And then when you start doing the postures, the bandhas actually help to stabilize and support the lower back. So the first bandha is called Mula Bandha. As you exhale, follow the breath all the way up to the tail end. And just see if you can feel the muscles between the pubic bone and the tailbone gently tone. You're just going to lift what we call the perineum, the muscle right between the pubic bone and the tailbone. You're going to lift that muscle and then keep that muscle toned as you inhale the breath all the way back up. And then on the exhale, release. And at the bottom of your breath, you'll find that tone again in the base of the spine, just in front of the tailbone. And then the second bandha is called Uddiyana Bandha. You'll place your fingertips just an inch or two below your navel. And Uddiyana Bandha is flying upward bandha. So the first one is the root, and the second one is the belly. And you're going to let the belly drop back and in. So there's a little pull in that space just below the navel towards the spine and then slightly up. So it's actually scooping out the belly. Okay, now we're going to add the breath and the bandhas together. So go ahead and take another Ujjayi breath. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, pause. Exhale, 2, 3, and 4. And then you're going to find that slight tone at the pelvic floor, Uddiyana Bandha, where the belly drops back and slightly up. And then keep that tone as you follow your breath back in. Pause. And you can start to soften the bandha as you exhale. And then at the bottom of your breath, re-engage. Right, now we're going to add in what we call the Drishti, the gaze of the eyes. So Drishti, we're going to weave in through our whole practice today. These are the subtle body, foundations for the subtle body that we're working. So the Drishti is just the gaze of the eyes. There's going to be different places that you gaze, and you want to keep your gaze both internal and external and steady. So as soon as our eyes start looking all over the place, we lose our connection to our center. Okay, so you're just going to open your eyes as you're breathing and slowly look past the tip of the nose. Inhale. And exhale. So soft gaze with your eyes. Keep the eyes steady and focused. We'll take one more breath here. Inhale. And then exhale the breath all the way out. Great, and let's take the right knee in towards the chest. You can either keep the left knee bent or extend your left leg all the way out, pressing the back of the leg onto the floor, almost like you have a sandbag. And you can even place your hand here, left hand on the left thigh, draw the right knee in. Great. Keep your tailbone slightly scooped under so that the lumbar spine lengthens, and then inhale, reach your left arm overhead. So here's where we start. Those two movements, we're going to keep the stabilization by drawing the muscles in towards the spine and then reach out from the center of the spine. And then on your next exhale, bring your left knee back in, right leg out, just starting with the hand on the thigh to ground the right thigh bone and reach out through your inner right heel. And then on the inhale, reach the right arm overhead and breathe. So we're always returning back to the Ujjayi breath. Make sure the ears are soft. It becomes the meditation, really. And then on the next inhale, bring both knees into the chest. Give yourself a slight squeeze. Great. And then we'll exhale, roll over to the side and press your way up to all fours. So you're going to come onto all fours here. And spread your fingers nice and wide as you come onto all fours. Yeah. Fingertips spread wide. And the creases of your wrists line up with the front of your mat. So they're parallel to each other. And then spread those fingers as wide as you can. Yeah? Good. Now we're going to lean the weight slightly forward until you feel the weight come into your hands. So you're not hanging out too much on your wrists. Okay? This is a big mistake a lot of people make when they come first to yoga is they hang out on the joints. Okay, so we want to create more support in the joints. So you're going to lean the weight forward. Good. Straighten the arms and bring the rib cage into a neutral position. So you're not overarching the back and you're not over rounding. You're just going to come into a neutral position. And we're going to come into some movements in the spine called cat-cow. This is just a nice, gentle spinal warm-up. So you're going to inhale, lift your chest, look up towards the eyebrows, arch the lower back, and then from your tailbone, curl the lower back, curl the tailbone under and round your back, tucking your chin towards your chest. Press into the arms. Inhale, the other way, arch the back and open up your front. Shoulders roll back. Exhale from your tailbone. Curl and round. And just 2 or 3 more times. Inhale. Get used to moving with your breath. So your breath is actually the leader in the movement. And exhale. Round. Bring your navel to spine. So Uddiyana Bandha is active here. And then on the inhale, arch your back, open the chest, and exhale, curl and round, slow movements, letting your breath guide you. And we'll do one more here. Inhale, arch the back and look up softly with your gaze, your Drishti. And on your exhale, curl and round. Great, and come back to a neutral position. And we're going to start making our way to the downward facing dog. Okay, so for downward facing dog, we really want to work the alignment of the shoulders properly. So we're going to start with some shoulder opening here. You're going to walk your hands way out in front. Okay, so make sure when you do this, you keep your knees directly underneath your hips. You're going to stretch the arms way out in front and then bring your ears in line with your arms. Yeah, so some of you might have more openness and flexibility where your head can come to the floor, but it's not quite the goal. Same with in downward dog. So now here, I'm going to lift the shoulders, lift the armpits away from the floor, and then roll the shoulders down the back. Okay, and spread those fingers nice and wide. And then just breathe here. Great. This is just a nice warm up and shoulder opener before we work on getting up into downward facing dog. Okay, then we're going to walk the hands back in. Okay, so the hands are slightly out in front of the shoulder, just slightly. Same thing, creases of the wrist line up. Now, look at your elbows, and you want to make sure the eye of the elbow, the inside of your elbows, are facing towards each other. So the two actions that are going to happen in the downward facing dog is that the upper arm bones are going to externally rotate, and the lower arm bones are going to internally rotate. So this is really the practice of yoga, right? We're working those two actions together, okay? So from here, line up those eyes of the elbows so they're looking in towards each other. Great, and then we're gonna tuck the toes under and lift the knees. And you're just gonna come into a modified dog pose here with the knees bent. And I want you to just take a peek at your elbows and make sure that the arms didn't go too far out or too far in. Okay, so the upper arm bones externally rotate, the lower arm bones squeeze in. Good, and then you're just gonna reach back through the hips here. Let your head relax and just breathe. Great, and then come back down again. So the 2 points in your hands that you wanna think about, work the shoulders properly, are grounding through the base of your index finger and the base of your thumb. So go ahead and do that before you come into your next dog pose. Ground the base of the index finger, ground the base of the thumb. Make sure the eyes of the elbows are looking in towards each other, and then just take a deep breath in and soften your chest. Great, then tuck the toes under, inhale, lift the knees, and reach all the way back through the hips. And spread open the fingers and just breathe. So if you've noticed that your weight hangs out on the heel of your hand too much, really try to resist that by pressing into the roots of the fingers. You almost want to create a little suction cup in the center of the palms. Great, go ahead and take another couple of breaths here, reaching back through the hips, lengthen the sides of your waistline. Excellent. And then we'll come back onto our knees here and rest back in a child's pose. So the knees apart, feet together, and if this is a lot for you, resting back, you can put a blanket underneath your seat or a bolster. And just sit back, rest the arms. This is going to be our resting pose today between some of the postures. Great, and then we'll inhale, walk our way up, and let's go ahead and get up onto our feet at this point. So we're going to come on up, and we're going to work a very basic pose here called mountain pose. It's also called Tadasana. Straighten out my mat here. So you're going to stand with your feet together, and the big toes are going to touch here, and then your heels are going to be slightly apart from each other. Okay, the mountain pose. So the idea here is that we stand still and steady, just like a mountain, grounded to the earth and extended to the sky. So as we're working the standing poses, you want to think more now about energy that goes down and descends, or yielding energy, and then energy that goes up and extends upward. Okay, so the yielding and the extension is what we're going to focus on. So look down at your toes and take a moment, spread your toes as wide as they'll go. Sometimes that little toe has a harder time spreading. So just work that little toe up towards the ceiling. You'll feel the arches of your feet engage, and then let your toes spread back down again. And you want to keep those arches engaged, and then lift the arches all the way up to the front of your spine. Lift all the way up through your chest, and then just feel your head come right on your spine. So you have to be careful not to get too militant in this pose, right? So you want to feel that softness of a mountain, but steadiness at the same time. And then just close your eyes for a moment. Allow your gaze to go inside. Let your arms hang by their sides, even though the palms are slightly opened up. And you want to feel this balance of front to back. So open up the back of your body, then open up the front. Yeah, feel that equal descension of rooting down through your feet and rising up through the crown of your head. Just nice basic pose. So this is really the foundation for all the standing poses that we're going to learn today. So you want to feel that equal ground and openness, that balance of effort and surrender. Right, everyone? Excellent. Now, we're going to just work a couple of variations of the Sun Salutation so you can get used to moving with your breath. Okay, so we'll start here in Tadasana, turn the palms out and inhale, slowly reach the arms all the way up. Stay rooted through your feet. Palms are going to touch, look to your thumbs. And then turn the palms out and exhale. Swim the arms back down. So as you exhale, the crown goes up. Okay? As you inhale, the feet go down. Look up towards the ceiling. Inhale. And then on the exhale, the arms come down. And breathe. Keep breathing. Keep doing that movement. Inhaling, stretch the arms all the way up. And you want to think about reaching from the sides of your ribs up to the fingers. Turn the palms out and exhale all the way back down. So we'll just keep doing this nice, slow, rhythmic movement. Inhale. Reach through the feet. And then as you exhale, it's almost like you're swimming with the arms. Reach to the very crown of your head. And one more. Inhale here. Look up towards the thumbs. And then exhale the arms down by your sides. Okay, so now we're going to go forward. And I'll just show you a side view here. So you're going to spin your arms and inhale, sweep the arms all the way up towards the sky. And then as you exhale, turn the palms out and slow. Scoop out the belly as you come forward. Now, if you have any lower back pains, feel free to bend the knees slightly. And then bring the hands down. Look towards your navel. And on the inhale, gently rest your hands on your shins. Lift the chest. So the quads are going to be super strong here and engaged. Weight is in the center of your feet. And then on your exhale, fold forward. And inhale, press through the legs and reach through the chest. Come all the way back up, reaching the arms overhead. And in your exhale, arms come down by your sides. Here we go again. Inhale. Reach through the feet. As you look up, exhale. Reach out through the crown of your head. And if you need to, bend the knees as you fold. Hands gently resting on the shins, halfway lift and lengthen from the belly all the way up to the chest. And on your exhale, fold forward. Good. And then press evenly into your feet, 4 corners of your feet, equally grounding. Inhale, lead with your chest and reach the arms all the way up. Exhale, swim your way back onto your center line. So center line, plumb line. If you look at my side view here, is where the ankle, knee, hip, shoulder, and ear align. So we can't see ourselves doing that, so we have to use our mind's eye. If your pelvis tips forward, you want to think about reaching the tailbone a little more down and drawing Uddiyana Bandha in and up, working the core. If you have the opposite pattern where your hips go forward and the groins tighten, then you'll want to go back a little bit. So find that balanced place, and then we'll do 1 or 2 more. Inhale, reaching the arms up. And exhale, fold forward. And release the head. Inhale, hands to the shins. Engage the legs. Look up halfway. And on the exhale, just fold forward. And again, 4 corners of your feet rooting into the ground as you reach. And exhale the arms down by your sides. Inhale, reach the arms all the way up. Ground the feet, exhale, fold forward. So keep it very simple where you're just simply breathing and moving and thinking about the general form. And then inhale, the arms come all the way back up. And exhale, the arms to your sides. Great, and we'll just come right back to the mountain pose here. Close your eyes and just feel. So notice if your body is starting to feel a little more comfortable with the yoga, a little more aligned. Great. All right, so let's do a couple more steps for Sun Salutation. Inhale, sweep the arms all the way up to the sky, grounding the feet. Palms turn out, and exhale slow. Breathe all the way out as we fold in. Inhale, hands to the shins. Shoulders roll back, so get nice and open through the front here. And then on the exhalation, we'll step the left leg back into a lunge and bring your back knee to the floor. If you have a thin yoga mat, you're going to take your mat and fold it, or you can always take your blanket and place it underneath the knee. Great, and then we'll just take the hands here up onto the thigh. Okay, so you'll take a peek at your back foot, and I find it's a little more stable to tuck the back toes under here. I'm just going to do a nice gentle lunge here to open up the front of the hip flexor. Yeah. So before we go deep into the lunge, you want to pull back a little bit, right, and roll the thigh bone in, draw the ribs in, make sure you're working your bandhas, and then as you exhale, soften and sink. Just breathe. And last couple of breaths, you're going to reach your arms up by your ears. Doesn't matter how high they come up. Just take your last couple of breaths. So the arms are rolling in towards each other as you look up. And then as you exhale, bring your hands to the floor, and we'll come to the knees. Okay, and then from the knees, we're going to lower down onto our bellies. Great. And we'll come into what we call a baby cobra. So baby cobra, the hands are by the chest and elbows in towards the ribs. And then you want to roll the shoulders back. So let's just do it a couple of times. Roll the shoulders forward and back, making some big circles. And then finally, just roll the shoulders all the way back so the chest is more open. Okay, now spread all 10 toes. And on your exhalation, I just want you to think about moving your buttocks slightly towards the heels. So just create a little more length in the lumbar. Then inhale, come up just halfway. So you're going to come up only enough where you can still lift your hands. And you'll just feel these lower back muscles engage. That's what you want. And then exhale, lower back down. Rest your forehead for a moment. And again, spread the toes and extend the tailbone towards the heels. Yeah. Good. Then inhale, lift your head and chest, and you might come up a little bit higher. The thing to be careful of is not to collapse the shoulders and not to overgrip your buttocks. Okay, so keep those thigh bones rolling in, tailbone rooted as you come up, shoulders back. Exhale, lower, and then press yourself back into a child's pose or a half child's pose. And just breathe. So all the alignment principles, it's a lot to think about. So what I want you to do is, at some point, just let go of all the alignment and just breathe. Be in the pose. That's what this child's pose is, just about breathing and letting your body integrate what it's learning. And then we'll inhale, come up onto all fours, and line up the creases of your wrists. So we'll just get ready here for downward facing dog. And take a deep breath in and lean your chest forward until you come into the center of your hands, especially the base of the thumb and index finger is where you want to put weight. Eyes of the elbows look in, melt the heart. Yeah, and then lift your hips and slide back. And remember, we're not trying to perfect anything here. We're just looking for support in the joints so that the energy can open up in the body. And just take another breath here. And you can play with maybe straightening your legs a little more. The idea is to keep the spine extending. You want to keep reaching back through the hips, the top of your thigh bones. And then exhale, knees back to the floor. And we'll take the left foot between the hands. And then inhale, come on up. And use your blanket or fold your mat if you need to. And we'll just take a moment here. So you're going to slide your hips back and then draw the low belly in, the lower ribs in. And then you can sink a little bit deeper once you have that stability. Inhale the arms up. And breathe. So the whole thing we're doing in yoga is just coming right to where we feel sensation in the body. And to you, that might feel like pain, it might feel like discomfort, it might feel like tension or resistance. It's all part of it. And we're just coming up and meeting the sensation with our breath. And then letting it open. And then on your exhale, your hands are going to come down, and we'll step both feet forward and separate your feet about hip distance apart. Once again, if you are blessed with stiffness in your hamstring, my teacher used to say, and it is a blessing because you can actually feel the edges in your body, harder to do when you're hyperflexible. Okay, so if you need to, bend those knees a little bit, micro bend. Otherwise, legs are straight and quads are lifting. And then we'll just take hold of our elbows here and let the upper body hang. So lean your weight forward and back in your feet until you feel the balance of front to back and then inner to outer. So your big toe mound and your little toe mound, as well as your inner heel and outer heel, are all sort of anchored into the floor. And that might be a new concept for you. So just start playing with that. And release the head, last couple of breaths here. Come back to your Ujjayi breath. And then we'll release the hands, bend the knees, and I'm going to have you roll up one vertebrae at a time. Coming up to standing. And pause here for a moment. I want you to close your eyes and just feel your body. Come back to your breath. Notice the quality of your breath. And then we'll walk our feet back into the mountain pose. The big toes are touching here. Great. And we're going to separate our feet. So take a big step with your feet apart. Now, ideally, your feet are about one leg length. Some people say, like from the wrist, this wrist to that, the other wrist. So you kind of have to just use your mind's eye here. Imagine how long your leg might be. And then turn your right foot straight out. Your back foot's going to stay exactly where it is. And on your exhale, bend your front knee right over your ankle. We're close to it. The thing you don't want to do is let the knee go past the ankle, because that's hard on the knee joint. Okay, so then just take a peek. Make sure you have sort of a 90-degree angle here in your front leg. Yeah, the spine is straight up and down, and the arms are stepped straight out from your shoulders. Now the back leg is strong. So pretty strong, grounding the outer back foot. Now we're just going to bring the gaze over the fingertips and breathe. Take a few deep breaths. Inhale. Exhale. Last breath, inhale. Soft smile on your face. Exhale. And then on the inhale, straighten your leg, turn the feet parallel, and we'll keep the arms stretched as we turn to the other side. And take a deep breath in, and exhale, bend your front knee right over your ankle, and pause. So whenever we come into a pose, we're just going to take a breath, soften the whole body, feel the shape. Make sure the general form is good. The spine is not typical, is to lean the weightless spine forward. So keep that spine vertical, head on top of the spine. And then just breathe. Come back to a soft smile in the corners of your mouth. And then on your inhale, straighten the leg, relax the arms. We'll step back to mountain pose. Okay, so you'll just take a couple of breaths here. Remember, this is just an integrative pose. It's giving your body a chance to integrate the posture that you just did. Okay, and then we'll inhale, open the legs nice and wide again, about one leg length, and we'll come into triangle pose. Now, If you're a little bit newer to yoga today, and this is one of your first classes, I'm going to have you either use that book or block on the outside of your ankle. So we're working our way into triangle pose. So take a peek down. Your front heel should line up with your back heel or your back arch. Okay, and then toes are spreading. Good. Inhale, we'll stretch the arms wide. And then on the exhale, we're going to come halfway down. So I want you to tip your hips over to the side, kind of like you would pour a cup of tea out of a teapot. So you're tipping the hips. And then you're opening, reaching with your left arm, reach, reach, reach. And then eventually the hand comes down onto the block or can. If that's even too much, the hand can actually come up onto the thigh. I just don't want you resting it on the knee joint, okay? Find a place to rest your hand. The other arm goes straight up towards the ceiling. And just pause here. So we're taking that initial breath, softening in, opening up the feet. Yeah. And then the big thing here in the triangle pose is not to hyperextend that front knee. You're going to micro bend and press through the big toe mound. And then lift the quad muscle and slowly turn to look up and just breathe. Breathe right into wherever you feel the sensation. Relax your jaw. Follow each exhalation to its end. One more in-breath. And exhale the breath all the way out. Push into your feet and inhale. Come on up and turn the feet parallel. Great. So we'll move to the other side. Take a hold of our block. Make sure the front heel lines up with the inner back arch or heel. Yep. And then take a big breath in and wake up your legs before you even go into it. Strong legs. And on the exhale, tip up and over. Reach through the left arm. And then you'll take your hand down and take a moment here. Find yourself in the pose. And then work that grounding through the feet as you open the chest. So we both find that effort and then that surrender, that soft steadiness. And simply breathe. The Drishti is soft, looking up past the thumb. If it's too much on your neck, you'll just look forward. Excellent, and finish your next breath completely out and inhale, come on up. Turn the feet parallel, we'll simply step forward. So you'll see in a lot of yoga practices today, you're moving from one pose to the next. We're just taking a pause in between since this is a yoga basics class and giving our bodies a moment to integrate. And then we'll separate the feet a little wider this time. And then turn your right foot out again. Place the block on the outside. It's not necessarily to have a block in this pose, but you might want to. Outer edge of your back foot parallel to the back of the mat. Inhale, stretch the arms wide, and exhale, bend your knee like you're coming back to warrior, but this time you're going to lean forward. Place the hand on the block, or the forearm can come onto the thigh. The only thing you want to be careful here of is not collapsing into that right arm, okay? So just make sure you're using your legs enough so you can keep that arm pretty light. Good. Great. So basic form, just front knee bends over the ankle, outer edge of your back foot grounding. Then we're going to spin this left arm in towards the ear as you reach it overhead. So you can see there's a nice straight line from the outer edge of my back foot all the way up through the fingertips. And this right arm is pretty light. Okay, then you're just going to breathe. Look up towards the ceiling if you can. If it's too much, look forward. And keep the eyes steady. Keep breathing. Allow yourself to drop in a little bit deeper on the exhale. And on your inhale, come all the way up. Turn your feet parallel and you'll take your block if you're using it. Just go on over to the other side. Check the alignment of your feet. So again, front heel lines up with the back arch or the back heel. Inhale, the arms reach wide. Exhale, bend your front knee into a 90-degree angle. Then you're going to lean forward, take the forearm onto the thigh or hand onto the block, and then internally rotate. So you can take this arm out in front a little, internally rotate the arm as you reach it overhead. And turn to look up and breathe. The tendency is to collapse the hips too low. So you actually want to keep this back leg pretty strong. And then reaching and breathe. So once again, we're finding that strength and ease in every pose. We want to find stability and softening. Last couple of breaths, looking up towards the ceiling or fingers if you can. Exhale completely, and then use the legs to press all the way up to standing. Turn the feet parallel. Beautiful, and we'll walk the feet together and come back. Come back to this mountain pose, palms facing out. And come back and listen to your breath. Feel your breath. Notice what's happening in your body. So maybe you're feeling a little more grounded. And when I say grounded, a little more yielded. A little more stress starting to fall away, both from your body, your physical body, both from your mind. And just notice the softening. It's what yoga is meant to do, is to calm the mind. The asana practice is ultimately here to calm our minds. So we're going to take our feet a little bit wider this time. I'm going to do an extended wide angle. Okay, so we'll take the arms nice and wide and look at your feet. Make sure your feet are parallel. There's a tendency to be a little out with the toes. So outer feet are parallel to the outer mat. Yeah, and then inhale here. Spread the arms wide. So you're rooting down as you're opening the chest, spreading the arms. Exhale, hands come onto the hips. And then on the in-breath, lift up through the side here. And roll the shoulders back. And on the out-breath, hinge forward at your hips. Again, if you've got those hamstrings that need a little help, you're going to bend the knees just a little bit. And a little support is what I meant. And then you can take your block if you like and rest your head on the block, or if you're not quite there, that's fine. You're just going to come right to wherever your edge is. If you can't actually touch the floor, that's fine too. You'll just come down halfway. And then from here, inhale, look up and lean your weight into the center of your feet. So tendency is for the heels, too much weight to go on the heels. So we're going to lean forward. And work the quad muscles, keep the toes spreading. And then once you reach that edge, you'll walk in and just breathe. Bring your gaze just past the tip of your nose, so a soft drishti here. And we have balanced action between the front of the legs and the back. So both the quads and the hamstrings are engaged here. And then we'll inhale, walk the hands back out. And you're just going to scoot your feet in a little bit. Hands to your hips, bend the knees if needed. And slowly rise up. Beautiful. And then walk your feet back together for the mountain pose. Close the eyes, stop and feel. This is part of the practice to stop and center yourself. Yoga is not about achieving anything or getting anywhere. It's about being in the moment. So let's take another breath or so here. Great. And then let your eyes open. We're going to make our way into a couple of balancing poses. Okay, so balancing postures are just really great for working that balance of opposing energies. So we're going to start with the tree pose. Stand on your left leg and lift your right leg. Now, some of you will be here having the foot on the inside of the calf. If you can lift up a little higher and place your foot on the inside of your thigh here. Walls are really good. If you have a hard time balancing, make sure you do this at the wall, and you'll just rest your, in this case, you'll rest your left hand on the wall. Okay, and then once you do have your foot either on the inner thigh, you just press the foot and inner thigh towards each other, and you're just going to feel this descension and ascension energy. And then you'll place the hands here at the heart, float to the elbows, and breathe. So you can really work the embodiment of the energy of tree, which is usually pretty rooted in the earth, rooted in the ground. And then it gets those nutrients to grow tall. So then you can start to grow upward through the crown. And if you want to take it into the final pose, reach the arms overhead. I know my arms are getting cut off here. I'm just reaching straight up here. Drop the tailbone, reach the fingers. One more breath with a soft smile. And then on your exhale, bring your arms down. We'll release the pose and go ahead and just shake that leg out. Great job. And then we'll make our way onto the other side. Standing on your left leg, your right leg, bring your left foot either here on the inside of the calf. Just step over so you can see me a little bit better. And then we'll lift the left foot up high. A lot of people talk about how their foot slips. That's true. It's a little easier to do on your skin if you ever want to wear shorts, and try that. However, if you press the foot enough, especially the heel, in towards the thigh, and you resist with the thigh, you should be able to get it to stabilize. And then the hands come here in front of the heart, elbows float. Take a few breaths. Root down and rise up. And then we'll inhale the arms up if you like, otherwise stay where you are. Oop. That's a little slippery for me, slippier. And on the exhale, just a nice slow releasing the arms down by your sides, and we'll release, stretch it out. Great. Okay. So next pose we're going to do is, let's start on lifting the right leg up and keep the knee bent. I'm just going to stand here balanced. Yeah. And then we'll bend the left knee and wrap the right leg over top of the left. So it's okay to be right here. If you can, hook your toes around the calf muscle. Yeah. So you're here, knees are bent, hips are pretty level. Then we're going to take the opposite. So my right leg is crossed over my left. I'm going to have my left arm crossed over my right. So I'm going to bring my right arm underneath, cross the left arm on top, and then as best you can, bring the hands together. This is called the eagle. And then you're going to lift your elbows, sink your hips. And I love this pose because it brings focus. You can actually feel, because you're pulling all the energy in, and you can pull in towards your navel. And good. And then inhale, release. Again, shake it out. Yeah. And then we'll come to the other side. So standing on your right leg, lift your left knee, and simply find your balance here. So work that dynamic symmetry in the pose, rooting down, lifting up, and then you'll wrap your left leg over your right, bending both knees. You just want to try to even out your hips here. If you can, hook the toes. Great. And then right arm comes underneath the left. Fold the hands. So you're folded up in a nice pretzel here. And squeezing in. So elbows lift. Bring your hips down a little bit more and draw your navel in. Breathe. Beautiful. And then we'll inhale. Slowly come on out. Exhale, release. Go ahead and shake it all out here. Great. And then we're going to make our way onto the floor. So you can come down to sitting here, and we'll sit up on our blanket or cushion, unless your hamstrings are pretty open. And then many of you will need a strap here. So I'm just going to invite you to get your strap or your scarf. If you don't have it, and it's okay, we can make do. Okay? So then you're going to roll the thigh bones in as you pull the flesh out from the buttocks, so you feel more upright on your sitting bones. Yeah? And then we'll just start here, taking the hands by the hips and sit up nice and tall. This is called Dandasana. It's the staff pose. So it's very similar to the mountain pose, but we're sitting. And we want to find that uprightness in the spine, but now sitting. So we root down like we were rooting through the feet. We're now rooting through the sitting bones. Thigh bones are grounded. It's almost like you have a couple of heavy sandbags here. Grounding and lifting. And take one more big breath in through the whole length of your spine. Exhale all the breath out. Now we're going to take our straps and wrap the straps around the balls of your feet. Okay? Pretty high. Yep. And then you want to press the mound of your big toes in towards the strap. It's going to rotate the feet more inward. If you don't have a strap, you're just going to take whatever you can, the calf or the ankle. Yeah, so we just start here, and then you're going to hinge right at your hips. Don't let it go into your back. Okay, so you want to keep the spine nice and extended here. I'm going to give you a side view so you can see what I mean. So there's a tendency when we go into this pose, we want to get there so we end up rounding the back, okay? You don't want to do that. You want to keep the spine nice and extended and hinge. I'm hinging from here, my hips. So if that means I only go forward an inch, that's fine. Maybe you can come a little further where you're hinging and lengthening. Yeah. Just take another few breaths wherever you happen to be. If you can sink in a little bit deeper through your breath, meeting the sensations in your muscles, your tissues, with your breath. Great, and then we'll inhale, come on up. Exhale, we'll take the hands right back behind us, and we're going to bend the knees, come into what we call tabletop pose. Take a peek at your feet. Make sure that your feet are parallel to each other, about hip distance apart, and the hands are back behind you about 6 inches, fingers pointing towards the buttocks. Now you want to roll your shoulders back, straighten your arms, push into your feet and lift the hips. Yeah, lift the hips high. So to lift the hips, you want to push into the inner heels, not push the legs wide. And then eventually, if it feels okay on your neck, you can let your head rest back. And breathe. Open up the fingers. Spread the hands. Take another big breath into the chest. And then on your exhale, lower down. Great. And then we'll bring the soles of the feet together in what we call Baddha Konasana. Another place we might need a blanket. In fact, I'll show you if you come into Baddha Konasana and your back is doing this or your hips are really high, you're just going to want to sit on some height. Okay? And then soles of the feet come together about 4 inches between. And then we'll sit up nice and tall, knees go wide, and just take a couple of breaths here. So hold on to the feet or ankles to get more extension in the spine. I like to visualize there's a support right behind my lower back, just pressing in and up. And then as you exhale, lean forward. And so that might mean 1/4 of an inch, or it might mean you're more flexible and come down a little further. I like to take the elbows and use the elbows to open up the knees wider. You can just gently open the inner thighs. And this is my edge here. So then when you meet your edge, you just soften. You go in. It doesn't matter how far you can get. It's not important. What's important is that you meet your body right where it is. And then you wait and you allow the tissues to have time to open. The body, opening up the body takes time and patience, but it's really well worth the reward. And then we'll inhale, come back up to sitting. We're going to just stay right where we are, but stretch the legs wide. Baddha Konasana is the name of this pose, extended wide angle. The legs are about at a 90-degree angle. Make sure the knees and the toes point straight up towards the ceiling. And the thigh bones are grounded. So if this pose is challenging for you, just being here, it's going to take the hands back behind you and work the spine more straight. Okay? If you've got more openness, you can walk the hands out. Another option is to take the inside of the ankles or feet. Yeah. And simply take a few breaths here. And back to the Drishti, soft gaze with your eyes. Slow your breath down. Excellent. And then we'll inhale, walk it back up. So we're going to finish our practice today lying on our backs. One pose on our backs, and then we'll take a minute or so of resting. So we're going to take what we call the bridge pose. The feet are parallel, legs are parallel. And as you exhale, press into the feet and lift your hips. And you just come to that first edge where the thighs are staying parallel. Reach under the back with the hands, clasp your hands. Walk the shoulders straight in. And then simply breathe. A few deep breaths here. Keep the chin neutral, thighs parallel. And one more in breath here. Ground the inner heels a little bit more, and then on the exhale, release your hands. Lower your hips back to the floor. And we'll draw the knees in and give yourself a little squeeze. You can roll side to side, releasing the back. Great. And then we'll go ahead and extend one leg at a time. This is called the Shavasana, the final pose, which means the corpse. So we want to find our way to being as still as a corpse. It's also an opportunity to let the practice go, allow the body to integrate and totally soften. Just simply let go of any residual tension, especially around the face and jaw. And take a big exhale, letting your breath go back to normal. Just simply rest back. And stay quiet on the inside. Keep allowing your body, mind, heart to relax in, deepen in. And then we'll take some deeper breaths and begin to wiggle the toes and the fingers, eventually stretching the arms over your head. And then we'll bend the knees and roll over to the side. Rest your head on your upper arm bone. And then keep your hips relaxed. Use the arms to press your way all the way up to a comfortable seat. So you're going to cross the legs and keep the eyes closed. And we'll just take a moment here to drop in, bring the hands together at the front of the heart. Let's take a moment of gratitude, deep breath in. And then exhale, offer that gratitude back out as you bow. Thank you so much for practicing with me today, everyone. Again, I'm Alison Litchfield. My website is alisonlitchfield.com if you want to know more about me. And I hope you have a beautiful day. Thank you so much for practicing, and I hope you continue to practice for yourself. Thank you.